for Google Cloud. And we're here today with HYCU. They're one of our ISVs and most important partners in the region. And we have an exciting thing today. We're going to be talking about different security solutions, how to protect your data from ransomwares and other threats. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to have 25 minutes conversation, and the last 4 or 5 minutes is going to be open for questions for all the attendees. All right. So I think we're ready. I'm going to pass it to Sid. Sid is one of our solutions engineers here at Google Cloud, and he will give you a quick intro about who we are and what are the kind of services that we can provide to you.
All right. Thank you, Felipe, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. So as Felipe said, I'm going to kick things off with an intro to Google Cloud and then lean into the topic of the day, which is security, data protection, before handing it over to Shiva, who is from HYCU, to talk about their offering on Google Cloud. So, why are businesses moving to Google Cloud, right? So from what we see when making this transition to Google Cloud, most companies are not just looking at how they can move their existing computing to cloud, to reduce costs, increase reliability, security, but they're also looking to create new opportunities. Now, what I mean by that is companies are reimagining their business based on cloud computing and everything cloud computing has to offer in terms of, scalability, speed, cost optimization, DevOps, data insights, analytics, machine learning, so on and so forth. So some of the questions that companies are trying to get answered by moving to Google Cloud are, how do we engage with customers better? How do we run our businesses on better insights? How do we partner better? How do we make our employees more productive? So when building our cloud, we concentrated around these three fundamental principles, right? Namely, infrastructure, security, and networking, data insights, data analytics, intelligence from the data, and openness, enterprise friendliness, and cost efficiency. So we provide you tool within Google Cloud to operate without concern and with speed, so you can focus on the pieces which are impactful to your business. So let's focus a little bit on the first aspect of it, since we are going to dive a little deeper into security later on. So let's focus on infrastructure, networking, and security. If you can quickly go to the, so what you see here is the global landscape, right, of infrastructure at Google. If you can go to the next slide, Shiva. So in terms of numbers, we have about 28 cloud regions across the globe, 85 zones, 146 edge points of presence, 96 CDN locations, and 81 dedicated interconnect locations. And of course, all this infrastructure is backed up by the world's largest software network. It is the same network that powers products like Gmail, Google Search, and YouTube. And your traffic essentially stays on Google's private backbone for most of its journey once it leaves your infrastructure, ensuring exceptional user experience and high performance. Now, since this webinar is about data protection, let's dive into the threat landscape and security which is offered by Google Cloud. Can you click 4 times, Shiva? Awesome. So what you see here is just numbers and percentages, right? So when you talk about security threats, like where do these threats emerge from? What do these threats, what does the threat landscape look like, right? So you have about 91% of attacks which start with a phishing email. 66% of malware was installed via malicious emails and attachments. You had 90% of all reported breaches caused by employee negligence, extortion, and external threats. And there was a 15 times increase in ransomware losses from 2015 to 17. So now I don't have the latest numbers, but I'm pretty sure that number has gone even higher in the recent years. And it goes without saying that these threats are rapidly evolving in nature, right? And to effectively negotiate these threats, you need a platform that is aware, alert, and adaptive to the ever-evolving tactics of these attackers. So when you talk about security on Google Cloud, with Google Cloud, security is built in. We provide defense in depth, and we provide it at scale. So as you can see, our infrastructure design doesn't rely on any single technology to make it secure. Rather, we build security through progressive layers, as you can see here, that deliver true defense in depth. So whether it is the hardware layer, whether it is the networking operating system, we have multiple layers of security built into the stack from top to bottom. Our hardware is Google controlled, built, and hardened. Any application binary that runs on our infrastructure is deployed securely. We do not assume any trust between services and use multiple mechanisms to establish and maintain trust. Our infrastructure was designed to be multi-tenant from the start. All identities, users, and services are strongly authenticated. Data stored on infrastructure is automatically encrypted at rest and distributed for availability and reliability as well. And communications over the internet to our cloud services are always encrypted. The scale of our infrastructure allows us to absorb many denial of service attacks, and we have multiple layers protection that further reduce the risk of any DOS impact. And finally, our operations teams detect threats and respond to incidents 24/7, 365 days of the year. We have also written a white paper. So if you go on Google and type for Google Cloud Security, you will get a white paper that we have written, just elaborating on all the aspects that you're seeing on this particular deck here. So when we talk about negotiating and staying ahead of all the security threats encountered, what also becomes critical is to have a mechanism to take regular automated backups, establish disaster recovery for your data and applications, and also to have robust data protection against ransomware attacks, etc. So this is where a partner like HYCU comes into the picture. Now, HYCU is a solution that was purpose-built from the ground up for the Google Cloud Administrator. This means that all processes and all of the code that was designed to make native backup, disaster recovery, and data protection for Google Cloud simple and easy to use. HYCU leverages the same underlying security, scalability, and reliability of Google Cloud that we saw in the previous slide, and adds a layer of manageability to that solution. So no matter where you are with your journey migrating to Google Cloud, HYCU has a solution for various scenarios that you will encounter in your journey. And I think at this point, I will hand it over to Shiva, who is the solutions architect with HYCU, to walk us through his slides.
Thank you very much, Sid. Hey all, my name is Shiva Raja. I'm the technical solutions architect at HYCU, and along with me, I have Jamie, who is the partner and alliances director at HYCU. And today we'll be talking about how HYCU can actually deliver a cloud native, or more to say, like a Google Cloud native backup and recovery and data protection solutions for all of your workloads who are not just considering Google Cloud, but also for customers who are on Google Cloud. So with that being said, let's just start with a quick introduction of who we are. So our company is based out of Boston, but we have global offices across the globe. And one of our core strengths with regards to our company as a whole is multi-cloud data protection, right? We've been really blessed with an engineering team who has like really deep data protection experience, and we've been responsible for building backup and recovery solutions, or top backup and recovery solutions in the Gartner Magic Quadrant behind the scenes. And now we've basically come forward to deliver our own homemade data protection solution. And we've basically delivered a multi-cloud data protection solution that actually has the ability to not just protect your workloads, be it on your on-prem or on your Google Cloud infrastructure, but we also have this ability of seamlessly moving your workloads from point A to point B. And in that process, we also have the ability to deliver a true ransomware protection, all right? And we basically have customers across the globe. We have sold our solution for more, across more than 75 countries, and we have more than 2,500 customers across the globe. Now, when it comes to the target audience, especially for this specific session, we've tried to split them into three major categories. The first scenario is basically meant for customers who are, very new to Google Cloud, who are basically considering Google Cloud, be it with regards to leveraging them for backups or basically, thinking about adopting Google Cloud in their business, who are basically trying to evaluate other cloud vendors and seeing how Google Cloud can benefit them in their business or within their organization, right? That would be the first scenario. The second scenario is basically customers who have already decided to go with Google Cloud and are in the middle of migrating their on-prem workloads to their Google Cloud infrastructure. In this particular scenario, you may even have customers who are basically thinking of leveraging your Google Cloud's infrastructure as a dedicated disaster recovery target, where if something goes wrong with your primary on-prem infrastructure, you have this ability to seamlessly fail over all of your workloads to your Google Cloud infrastructure, right? And the third scenario, which is basically about customers who are already on Google Cloud. It really doesn't matter what kind of workloads you're running on Google Cloud. Could be your Google Cloud instances running within your Google Compute Engine, or it could be containerized applications running within your Google Kubernetes engine, or it could be unstructured data hosted on Google Cloud Storage buckets, right? So these are the high-level three scenarios that we are trying to cover. And as a matter of fact, this could also be considered as a single a flow of a customer journey from their on-prem to their Google Cloud infrastructure. And in every process, we basically focus on how we can help customers to protect their backups or protect their infrastructure from ransomware attacks or from malware attacks or even from malicious behaviors. And that is exactly what we're trying to focus on this session. So let's start with the first scenario, right? For customers who are considering Google Cloud and how HYCU can actually offer to protect our customers from a malware or a ransomware attack. Now, one of the things about HYCU, especially when it comes to Google Cloud for in helping out on-prem customers, is we can offer 100% agentless backups to your Google Cloud object storage, all right? So we do this in the most efficient manner, meaning that we don't need any additional installs. We are automatically transparent to the tiering policies within your Google Cloud storage. And our entire backups of your on-prem infrastructure is delivered in an airtight manner, which is totally isolated from your production. And the backups in general, when they're moved to Google Cloud, are 100% immutable, right? So what this means is all of your on-prem infrastructure's backups are basically located in an isolated location that is totally separate from your production environment. And in that process, we basically deliver a true air-gapped and immutable backup solution that can actually shield you from typical ransomware or malware attacks, or it can even shield you from malicious behavior by internal users or unforeseen circumstances where a disgruntled employee trying to delete backups. Everything is basically secured in a separate location. So how do we really deliver this, right? So number one is when we basically talk about HYCU doing backups of all of your on-prem workloads to your Google Cloud storage, HYCU is delivered as a virtual black box, right? You basically deploy HYCU as a virtual appliance, which is based on a CentOS operating system. And this entire virtual appliance is basically shielded from any backdoor access or SSH access. We can totally lock out the entire backend access. And the only way customers can access is basically through the front-end UI, right? Now, in addition to that, we basically offer air-gapped backup security. What I mean by that is HYCU has its own inbuilt multi-tenancy capabilities, data encryption capabilities, backup segmentation capabilities where we can bifurcate your backup traffic to your management traffic. And in doing all of these, by making use of all of these techniques, we actually have the ability to totally separate your backups from your production environment so that even if your on-prem infrastructure gets impacted by a ransomware attack, your backups are totally safe on your Google Cloud Storage. And speaking of a malicious behavior, right, HYCU also has this ability to pause the backup expiration. And by storing these backups on your Google Cloud Storage, you basically have a level of software and hardware security where not even a super administrator will be able to delete these backups. And this basically ensures that the backups remain within your Google Cloud Storage until its expiration, meaning that no matter what kind of attack you have, like be it a malware or ransomware or a malicious behavior, your backups are always going to be safe. And regardless of what kind of an attack, you always have the option of recovering to your previous consistent state. And that is exactly what HYCU can offer with the help of your Google Cloud infrastructure. So that is for the first scenario, right? For customers who are basically trying to test the waters, who are trying to evaluate, or who are in the middle of evaluating Google Cloud infrastructure and how we can help their on-prem infrastructure by just leveraging Google Cloud Storage buckets to store backups, right? Now, in the second scenario, we basically extend that from backups to a typical migration or a DR strategy. And how do we do that? So the one thing that you have to understand is when we basically make use of your Google Cloud Storage buckets to store backups, we can extend that capability to easily lift and shift your on-prem workloads as virtual machines within your Google Compute Engine. And all of this migration from your on-prem to your Google Cloud infrastructure is done purely in an application consistent manner. And again, when you're basically moving this, migrating these workloads to your Google Cloud infrastructure, you don't need any agents or you don't need any additional installs or plugins. Everything is basically done from one single user interface. And that's how intuitive our entire solution is. So how do we do that, right? So the first thing that you have to understand is our solution is built from the ground up, which is native, not just for your on-prem, but also for your Google Cloud infrastructure, where we can easily migrate all of your workloads to your Google Cloud infrastructure. Now, this is basically meant for customers who have decided to move with Google Cloud and are in the middle of migrating their on-prem workloads to Google Cloud. The other scenario that I'd like to talk about is basically leveraging Google Cloud as a DR target. Now, this is basically meant for your on-prem customers where when there is a ransomware attack, it's not like you can instantly recover your on-prem infrastructure back to its previous uninfected, consistent state, especially when your on-prem infrastructure is basically going through an investigation of how this ransomware attack happened, or when there's basically a data trail that's happening within the infrastructure, then the entire data center is basically put on hold, and the entire production and the business is basically put on hold. And that is exactly where the Google Cloud can help you, because HYCU basically enables to fail over all of your on-prem workloads seamlessly to your Google Cloud infrastructure, so that no matter how much time it takes for your on-prem infrastructure to complete its formalities, its investigation, and when it's ready to be brought up, HYCU can basically help you to fail back all of those workloads back onto your on-prem infrastructure. So for all intents and purposes, it's not just about migrating your workloads to Google Cloud. You can actually leverage your Google Cloud infrastructure as a reliable DR target, especially during these unforeseen circumstances, because this whole concept of failing over to a cloud has its own advantage. You don't have to invest in a dedicated DR site at the end of the day, because Google Cloud's intuitive billing basically enables you to have this OpEx model where you basically pay as you go for your DR infrastructure. And that's the best part, right? And as always, when we basically move all of these workloads, we do them in an application consistent manner. And one of the cool things about HYCU is when we move your workloads from your on-prem infrastructure to your Google Cloud, your data never leaves your premises. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a Google Cloud account and you have your on-prem infrastructure, and let's say you're moving a couple of Microsoft SQL servers from your on-prem infrastructure to your Google Cloud account, the data always resides within your premises, from your on-prem infrastructure to your Google billing account. We never, ever transfer any of your data to a mystery cloud that is managed by a separate vendor. And that is the best part. You can always be assured that your data is secured from your source to the destination. Now, the last scenario that I'd like to talk about is what happens to customers once they have already moved on to the Google Cloud. How do we help customers on Google Cloud to secure their workloads from ransomware or malware attacks? And in this particular scenario, we basically offer our solution natively within your Google Cloud infrastructure as a service. And it really doesn't matter what you're running within your infrastructure. It could be workloads running within your GCE or GKE or GCS. We'll be able to protect them seamlessly. And that is because our solution is hosted within the Google Cloud infrastructure. All you have to do is basically go to Google Cloud's marketplace, hit the subscribe button, or you can even do a trial for 14 days. And that's pretty much about it. We automatically create an instance or a HYCU instance that basically does the job of discovering all of your GCE, your GKE, and your GCS workloads. And we are seamlessly integrated with your Google's identity access management, meaning that any and all security policies that are defined within your Google Cloud are automatically inherited by our HYCU's backup as a service, meaning that whatever is defined within the Google Cloud is automatically adopted by your HYCU backup solution, meaning that you don't have to install, you don't have to size our solution, you don't have to set up any permissions or configuration settings. It's literally a Google Cloud native backup and recovery solution. And when it comes to performing backups, again, we make use of your Google Cloud storage buckets, meaning that all of these backups are already stored in a cost-efficient Google Cloud storage. So, to summarize how we basically perform all of these backups, as I mentioned before, our solution is purely delivered as a service, meaning that none of your ransomware or malware attacks has the ability to hack into your backup server. In the on-prem world, we delivered it as a black box, meaning that it's a locked out CentOS image. In the cloud, in Google Cloud, we basically deliver this as a service, meaning that none of the ransomware or hackers actually have any access, like not even front-end access into your HYCU's backup as a service, right? And in addition to that, since we are natively integrated to Google Cloud's identity access management, any of those stringent security policies that have been defined within your Google Cloud infrastructure is automatically inherited by HYCU, meaning that HYCU automatically has all of the security policies that are defined within your Google Cloud infrastructure. As simple as that. And again, we also have the same concept of backup segmentation, meaning that we can isolate your backups within your Google Cloud storage or within your Google Cloud infrastructure to a totally different project, meaning that even though your primary Google infrastructures or your primary projects within your Google Cloud store, your Google Cloud infrastructure gets infected or gets compromised by a ransomware attack, your backups can be stored on a totally different zone and different region within a different project, right? And those backups can be assured for a guaranteed recovery because they will be stored on worm-enabled Google Cloud storage buckets, meaning that no one, not even like super administrators within your Google Cloud account, have the ability to corrupt, encrypt, or delete those backups, right? So that is what HYCU delivers. Right. At the end of the day, we basically make use of your existing Google Cloud infrastructure for customers who are new to Google Cloud, or customers who are in the middle of migrating to Google Cloud, or customers who are already on Google Cloud, we leverage your underlying Google Cloud infrastructure to deliver a 100% solid, high performance and highly secured backups to ensure that you have, a true recovery strategy when your primary infrastructure is impacted by a ransomware attack. And that is what we deliver. Now, one of the cool things that we offer to our customers or to our prospects is basically the ability to assess your organization's ransomware recovery readiness, right? And we basically call that as R score. It's almost like your, just imagine, it's almost like your, the ability to, get your FICO score based on your credit performance for the past, several years, right? And one of the cool things about this test is it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. What we do is we basically ask you a set of questionnaire with regards to your backup practices, with regards to your infrastructure, with regards to your SLA compliance, SLO compliance. The entire questionnaire is pretty intuitive, and it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes to complete. And we basically ensure that the first, the entire questionnaire involves in helping you out, meaning that you don't have to provide any of your contact information if you wish to stay anonymous, right? And we basically display instantaneous results based on the questionnaire that you've filled out. And once you've filled out the questionnaire and once we deliver you the results, if you're interested to, basically reach out to us further in helping you out how we can improve this ransomware readiness, recovery readiness for your organization, you can always reach out to us. All right. So please check out our getarscore.org. You can fill out this questionnaire. It's totally free of charge. And again, if you wish to stay anonymous, you don't have to share any of your contact information or your email address. And it's pretty intuitive and straightforward. So before I pass the ball back to Jamie, I just wanted to take a look at some of the questions. So in the chat, I do see that there's a question saying that if someone has interest for Google Cloud, what is the best place to start using Google Cloud and HYCU? I would say that using the Google Cloud Marketplace would be the best place to subscribe to HYCU. But Sid, would you like to answer this question about what would be the best place for any customer who's interested in using Google Cloud? What would be the best place for our prospects to take a look at?
Absolutely. For Google Cloud, we have, for new customers, they get a $300 free credit to go ahead. So if you go to the Google Cloud page right now, you should be able to sign up and get a $300 free credit. You can also reach out to Felipe in case you have some interest, and if you would like some additional credits. I'm sure, I would like to have Felipe also say a few words about how customers can proceed if they have some interest in exploring Google Cloud. Felipe?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Definitely reach me out. I put my email on the chat, and let's talk. I think we would love to understand what's your strategy. We would love to guide you as well on what are some of the best practices that we have seen from other companies. And this is a very simple process. So it could take less than a week to move some of your workloads and start working with, as Shiva said, mentioned in the free trial. So reach us out. Here are my contact details, and let us know how we can help you.
Thank you. The next most commonly asked question is about what kind of information do we have to submit for taking the R-Score questionnaire? And the answer is none, right? We have ensured, or we have designed this entire process to ensure that prospects or customers don't have to share their company's information or email contact or any of their contact information, and they can take this test absolutely for free. And we deliver the results. We deliver the results right away. And once we deliver the results, if the customers are interested in reaching out to us, we basically provide them an additional mechanism to reach out to us. But to answer the question, just to take the test, the customers or the prospects, they don't have to share any of their contact or business information. So having that said, let me just pass the ball back. Paul, let me just pass the ball to Jamie.
Hey, thanks, Shiva. Hey, can you advance the slide just a little bit further? I think the call to actions are right in there. There you go. So folks, really appreciate your joining today. Like I think we've talked about, there are a number of call to actions. One is you can start your journey to the cloud with HYCU, Google, and SADA Systems, who's also a partner here, who's part of the solution set that we're working with, and also a great service provider that's a clear partner, one of the largest resellers for Google Cloud. And you can engage SADA, Google, and HYCU on use cases that help drive your multi-cloud and digital transformation initiatives. You can also trial HYCU for multi-cloud data protection. You can sign up for a 30-day free trial of HYCU Backup as a Service on Google Cloud with SADA and HYCU. And lastly, from a ransomware readiness perspective, as Shiva has mentioned a number of times, you can assess your company's readiness for a ransomware attack by going to getourScore.org and try out the assessment and get the results. And again, as we had said earlier, if you find that you have questions about the assessment or want to talk to us further about how we can help you improve your score, you can reach out on that site, and we're happy to connect with you and talk to you further about it. So at this point, I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. I also want to appreciate Sid and Shiva for presenting, and Google and SADA for also being involved in this presentation. And thank you all for being here.